Welcome back, folks and friends. Connecting dots here. Today's date is irrelevant. It's more about the anger. So if you don't want to hear about the anger, then I suggest you move along, but you might want to hang on, because at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a small portion of a video from a young man, of all things, of Jewish faith, who got upset and realized that there's bullshit and took a proactive approach. This is very important. I've been very big on everyone becoming proactive within their community, within their society. It's not going to get better by putting the people in power and thinking they're going to lead the ship, and I'll point that out in this video again. We have problems here on YouTube. Sorry, I'm digressing. So if you don't want the anger, move along. A great video, at least at the end, you can go watch how he debunks the Holocaust. And it's all about, anyways, you'll see. The reason I'm making this video is because several people have, and not several, quite a few, have left comments saying, you need to change the way you're speaking, and you need to change your attitude. Stop attacking people. Stop calling out these scammers. You're losing viewership, is what they're saying. And that's all based on, well, my first video of 2015, January 2015, I said, watch out. It's game on. The gloves are off. And I'm fed up here, and I'm going to use a little bit more of an abrasive language when it's fitting. And if you don't want to listen, then I suggest you go elsewhere. And I'll leave the unsubscribe button there again so you can move along. And you're right, my views have dropped. But that's if you're believing the counter, right? If you believe the counter, my views have dropped. So I have a feeling the views haven't dropped. In fact, I'm about to prove to you the views are doing quite well. So if you're not subscribed to Connecting Dots 2 and Connecting Dots 3, either or, and you visit this YouTube channel, you'll be confronted with this Fukushima Day 1205, where I catch the Food and Drug Administration lying about the safety, the testing they'd done on the seafood in June 2014. And what I like about that is that every time someone goes to my YouTube channel, Connecting Dots 2, the video automatically starts playing. Remember, you won't see this. You won't see the video if you are subscribed. You have to unsubscribe and come here to view it. So every time someone views the video, the counter adds another person, right? Or I should say another, adds another view to it. So although I've noticed that the thumbs up have been locked up since the video first came out and launched up to, I think it was roughly about 500 views or 600 views, there was 85 thumbs up, and has not moved since. But the thumbs up have continued adding. Not that I'm concerned about that, but here's where it gets really important here. So if some of you believe that my views are dropping, this is where I'm going to prove to you that no, the graph is showing me otherwise. So this graph is only for this video specifically. Again, it's set up so when you show up, the views add up, and as you can see here, the bar is not slowing down. And when I look on the daily, you can see as I slumped down here in 2015 because I didn't make any videos, I'm back up on the race. The race is on. What can I say here? As I said, the gloves are off in 2015. I'm going to get very, very serious about what I do on YouTube. I've been doing this for a long time. This is not my first YouTube channel here. Okay? Now, as far as this anger thing, well, let me share with you a personal story here. As I've shared here with everyone here, my past, I'm a recovered drug addict, over 10 years being clean time. And during that, previous to that, I'd gone to 2 rehabs back to back, because I was kicked out of them with the first one under false reasons. That's the way that's my position on it, and I think what I've done in the last, since then has proven that he was wrong on his call. But what's important is that first rehab was run by a Harvard graduate, Dr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson was actually running a rehab in Ottawa, but he'd actually dealt with rehabs in, I believe it was San Francisco or Los Angeles for, was it 17 years? I'd have to go look back, or anyways, I don't even have those files with me, but basically he had done it for a long time. He even showed us biopsies of alcoholics and how your liver grows an extra liver when the first one's shot. Anyways, I'm not digressing here, but the point was, I loved this program because it was intense. It was like going to university, 10 hours of schooling, and you had to take notes and quizzed, and it was like, wow, I loved it, because once you get clean off everything, your mind's running, and I loved it. What's unfortunate, he ended up pulling me aside roughly 2 weeks into the program and pulled me in his office and sat me down and went on to tell me how he didn't believe I was actually there for the right reasons, and that's to get clean off drugs, and then went on to say how he'd found out that I was up on an assault charge. And he figured I was just there to get off the assault charges. And he figures I have an anger management issue. And I'm like, whoa. I said, well, you're right about the assault charge, but I said, I'll remind you. And by the way, before I even had a chance to respond, as soon as he was done telling me that he was kicking me out, his hand had already reached underneath the desk and he'd pressed the old buzzer, and the security guys, two of them had walked in, one on each side of me, but he continued talking, and then he asked me, do you have any response? And I said, yeah. Well, I said, you're forgetting here. And number one, I was over 2 months clean when I even showed up at this program. And my big thing with you is I haven't been angry. I've shown any anger at this in this place, this rehab, and in fact, one of the things I've learned here is that anger can be a positive motivator. And that's why the gloves are off in 2015. And don't you ever forget that just because someone is angry, that does not mean that they're going to hit you and hurt you. Yes, there's no doubt about it that anger can bring on violence, but not necessarily. I believe that anger is also the motivator to bring in goodness. You get upset, you realize you've been screwed over, you've been lied, you've been conned, scammed, and in my case, censored, and you get disgusted. So, as I said, 2015 gloves are off. I'm going to continue tackling all of these people. I won't be dealing so much so with the lower levels here on YouTube, and I will be dealing with, obviously the problems within our local governments, our world governments. As I've been saying here since 2008, that's how I was able to predict this September 2008 stock market crash 6 months before, was by researching conspiracy as to what was taking place. I was originally drawn in with the 2012 phenomenon. I had just seen 2 UFOs in 2007, and that threw me on the internet. And from there, I was like, hold on a second, that might be a sideshow Bob kind of scenario. I think the big problem is the New World Order, the rise of it, and how they're shifting our jobs over. There's so many things that just didn't add up that I'm like, okay, so yeah, I began jumping onto conspiracies. So I'm going to continue hitting conspiracies now. As far as my views, they're not going down. I'm not concerned about it. I've been tweeting with the mayor here, and I've asked her to take a look at some photos here. And I'm not sure if you folks remember this, but this is a video here that was made just this past summer. No, it was November 18th, 2014. You can see down below here. So I tweeted this to the mayor because I want her to see the chemtrails, just like you're seeing them right now. There's an avoidance of the topics here in my town, and there's people who have come out and said that I'm a bully in my video, and that I'm not bullying anybody. And the foul language is rather the fact that we're being ridiculed. We're being ridiculed over things that are just so blatantly obvious that I sit there and I'm like, really? I got to make videos on the fact that this is not a condensation trail, and condensation trails don't behave like this, and the patterns overlap each other to eventually I can't see the damn sky? Really? Wow. Okay, so I don't know what to say. It's people don't want to know the truth, and there are some people, they can see that there's a lot of funny business going on here, and censorship is one of their ways to deal with people like me. So I'm going to say it again, in case you haven't heard it before, like a broken record. I'm going to say it again. If you're subscribed to me at Connecting Dots 2 or Connecting Dots 3 or Silver Gold Man, you're going to have to come directly to my YouTube channel, okay, because you're not going to see my videos. Many people have complained here. If you saw the video 3 days ago, I mentioned how your thumbs up are vanishing. Some of you have left comments in there. Claire Stanhope even shared how she went to the same video 5 days in a row, and every day her thumbs up from the day before had vanished. And then I shared with Facebook how they'd done a 1 million user experiment. I couldn't remember the exact number, but yeah, over 1 million users were put under this secret experiment. So I'm going to be busting the shills here because I've been on YouTube for a long time, and I know the people, and I can connect the dots, the Fair Energy Wins to Energy News to all the rest of the Fukushima scammers here. So they can give me as many thumbs up as they want. It doesn't matter here. I'm all about the truth. I'm not about anger and hitting. It's about being proactive. So in the recent tweeter here from my mayor, while they were talking about the Victoria is rated the second least affordable housing market in Canada. And I've mentioned here how I'd spent a lot of time in 2014 trying to end homelessness in my town. I actually joined the Kool-Aid Society to end homelessness. Turned out it's nothing but a bloody fucking scam to rip people off. They want us to cry our hardship stories on the radio, CBC radio, CFAX bullshit, so people can send donations. And I hit them up. I'm like, yeah, you really care about the homelessness? Then why are you charging homeless people $6 a month for you to give them a telephone answering service so their loved ones can leave them a little message, so they can, check up once in a while and see if someone left them a message? So yeah, they want to suck the money out of the society, but they're looking for a government grant and lots of hands out, but they're not very good at handing back to the people they're saying they're going to help. And this is the reason why they had to basically change the guy. Greg's no longer there. So it's the same thing with my other thing. We had a committee to end homelessness in Victoria here, and they can meet up at the Silver Threads all they want, but the fact is, I spent many hours there, 2.5-hour meetings at these talk sessions. Actually, it's cookies and biscuits and snacks time. It's not about ending homelessness. All these people have homes to go back to. I was the only guy who's actually had experience with being homelessness in this town who was actually sitting at that table. So this is part of my concern here in my town here. My dear Mayor Lisa Helps, who you may have heard of in my past video, how she wants to help out the bankers and renovate Bankers Corner. Well, in her latest thing here, she's calling out people to come out and, it's an opportunity to meet others and engage in a conversation and share thoughts, ideas, and concerns and build a community and a sense of belonging. Well, I've been through that. And because you're just going to be yakety-yak, talking and sharing and concerns, because nothing is going to be taken down and there's no actual, no plan of action. And this is what I met here. This is what I found in my town. Even with the committee to end homelessness here in Victoria, we had one of the past mayors, I can't remember his name, but it was before Mayor Alan Lowe here. He showed up at the committee to end homelessness, again, just there to have snacks, barely put any input at all. And you'd think a guy with that kind of resources and contacts could get the ball rolling. They can't. And this is why it's going to start off here from a local approach, regular guys like myself. And again, I'm going to end this video, as I mentioned, a little story here from a young man, David Cole. And I'll leave a link down below so you can watch this documentary. If you believe the Holocaust is real, oh boy, David thought so too. As I said, he's a Jewish young man. He took the time to go find out what the truth was. So I can only do 15-minute videos, so I'll end it up with this one.
That during World War II, the Germans ran a network of prison and labor camps both in Germany and in the territories they controlled. Into these camps were sent Jews, prisoners of war, resistance fighters, gypsies, and other people considered enemies of the Third Reich. The largest of these camps was the one called Auschwitz, located in Poland. Those interned at Auschwitz came from all over Europe and consisted of men, women, and children. Those able to work were used as labor for the German war effort. Auschwitz was liberated by the Soviet Army in January of 1945. But that is where the consensus ends. Since the end of World War II, we have been told repeatedly that many of these camps served a darker purpose: the genocide of 6 million Jews and the execution of 5 million non-Jews through the use of homicidal gas chambers in what is now commonly known as the Holocaust. The largest number of people are said to have been murdered at Auschwitz. But there are some people who maintain that these claims of mass murder have never been proven. These people point to the lack of documentation other than the highly questionable and already partially discredited evidence supplied by the Soviet Union at the Nuremberg trial, and the unreliable nature of the eyewitness testimonies, many of which have also been discredited. For example, many former camp inmates, as well as American soldiers, still speak of gassings at the Dachau camp in Germany, even though it is no longer held that any gas chamber was ever in use at that camp. Still, the Holocaust is an event that has seemingly grown in importance since the end of the war, taught as fact, usually accepted without question.
Without question. So the links are down below, and anger is what got people upset and dragged them into the war, and anger is what got this Jewish young man by the name of David Cole out there to figure out what the truth was. So the links are down below. Go hear it for yourself.